In this video, you'll learn how to do a 360-degree, very smooth zoom camera with Cinemachine and the Unity input system. All you'll need is an item that you can already move. And we'll hook a camera to it and set up the zoom. And with that, away we go. Two things we're going to need are Cinemachine and input system. So let's grab those real quick. Go to Windows, Package Manager, Packages and Product. Scroll down to Cinemachine and install. You may need to do an update. Once that's installed, go to the new Unity input system, install that. And after that, we're ready to start setting things up. All right, hopefully you've already got your camera set up, but just in case, I'm gonna show you how to set up here so that it'll work with the script that we're doing. We're gonna take Cinemachine, we're gonna add a Freelook camera. On that Freelook camera, we're going to set our player ship as the follow and the lookout. And also down here on the rig, it's important that we both have the same on that. I'm going to say 0 for height. Yeah, 0 for height. Start with a radius of 10. The height here should be 10 for the top rig, also for the bottom rig. In other words, for this to work really well, the height for your top and bottom rig should always match the radius for your middle rig. Of course, you can play around with it however you want. Maybe you like it different, but to make it smoothly rotate all the way around, be the same, this is probably the best way to go. Now, this really isn't a tutorial on the input system, but I'll show you how it's set up to make this work. We go in here. Ignore this movement controls. That's just the movement controls for the ship. We need an action map, so you'll click here and create you an action map. I'm going to get rid of this one. Freelook camera controls. This is the way it's going to be called in the script we're going to write. Then we create two actions, mouse look XY. The XY is a pass-through with a vector 2. We click here, add one binding, which will be this. And on this, we just simply make it a delta mouse. You just click, you go down and pick mouse, then delta. I'll give you the delta look for the mouse look XY. We're also going to add an action for the mouse zoom. It's going to be a pass through with axis. And we're going to add just a single binding by hitting here and adding the binding. And it'll be just a scroll Y mouse. Get a mouse, go down here where it says scroll Y. And also we'll need to go to the Freelook camera. We will need to add in the Cinemachine input provider, and where it says XY axis, we're going to put in the mouse look XY, and that will give us a camera that will follow our ship. I also on the Freelook for this particular type of ship, let's do world space, and when it says heading, say world forward. And that'll keep that camera from continuously trying to jerk away from you while you're trying to rotate around the ship. Now, right now, we can't zoom in or out, but as you can see, we're definitely moving away from the little moon. All right, let's get the script written. Let's go to Scripts, create a new C# script. Let's call this Player Spaceship Zoom Control. I like to be very descriptive in my naming of things. All right, we need a few more using statements. All right, I'm going to go ahead and lay out the variables we need, and then I will explain them. Starting from the top, what you will need is an input action asset input provider. What this will be a reference to the input system that we have set up, the entirety of the input system. We'll also need a reference to the Freelook camera, the Cinemachine Freelook. the camera we want to zoom in and out. The private float zoom speed, that will control how fast we can move our camera in and out from the target. The zoom acceleration will help with the smoothing so that we don't get this real jerky movement when we zoom in and out. The zoom inner range will be how close we can get to our object that we're zooming in on. The zoom outer range, of course, will be how far away we can get. The current middle rig radius and the new middle rig radius, that's just going to keep up with where we're at as we zoom in and out, how far away we are away from the target and where we need to go. Once again, that'll help with the smoothing. This serialized field, the zoom y-axis, it will help with, it's going to capture the information that we're getting from the input system. So we need a variable for that. Also, that's just a property field for it, because if the zoom y-axis changes, in other words, if it detects we're scrolling in or scrolling out, we're going to want it to call this method, which we haven't set up yet. But let's move on. Let's go on. We're going to need an awake statement. What this is doing is we're setting up a way to monitor or to capture when we scroll in and out with our scroll wheel. In other words, we're doing input provider again. Remember, it's a reference to the input system. And it's find action map. What we're doing is we're drilling down through the action map to find out if we performed anything. So we're going Freelook camera controls, grind down to mouse zoom. If you remember, Freelook camera controls, mouse Y look, mouse zoom is where we're going. So we're drilling down to find out if we moved it. If we did, we're going to assign the value to zoom y-axis. And the odd thing is, when you roll the scroll wheel forward, it returns 120. When you roll the scroll wheel backwards, it returns negative 120. And if you leave it alone, it's going to pick it up as canceled on this second line here. So you see it says canceled, and we're going to set zoom y-axis to 0. So in other words, we're going to show 0 if we're not moving it all the time. If we scroll in or out, it's going to show 120 or negative 120. Now these next two methods are just something required by the input system. We have to do an on enable and an on disable for the find action mouse zoom, the same one that's here. We just do the same thing here, input provider, find action mouse zoom, we enable it on the on enable function method, and on the on disable, we disable it. Required by the input system, I don't know why. We will not need this update function. Let's type in the adjust camera zoom index, this method up here that we need to get activated anytime the zoom y-axis is changed here. So we'll put that here. Now all that's happening is it gets called, it feeds in the zoom y-axis. So if it's 120, negative 20, or 0, if it changes, it calls this method here, feeds it in. Now, if it's 0, we don't want to do anything, so we just return out. If it's less than 0, we're going to add to our zoom speed. I hope I'm saying that right. I might have my 120 and negative 120 back reversed, but it's pretty easy. If it don't work the way it's supposed to, just come in here and switch the sides. It's pretty simple. But anyway, we're going to set our new middle rig radius to whatever the current is, and we're going to add in that zoom speed to control how fast we're going in and out. And as well as when it's negative or positive, the opposite of that, we're going to minus the zoom speed. So this just sets up our variables so that our fixed update method knows what to do. We'll look at that now. It just sets up our variables so that our update zoom level method will know what to do. And we're going to do the update zoom level in our late update here. Just putting that late update under on disable. And let's do the update zoom level. That's what we're going to call in late update. And our very last method now, right here, the update zoom level. Now, all that's happening here is if the current middle rig radius equals new middle rig radius, means there's been no change, just another check to make sure nothing's happening. We're not going to run the late update. We're just going to exit out of it. But if there has been a change, what we're going to do is, the first thing we're going to do is lerp between what's current, the current radius, and the new radius by the zoom acceleration. We're also going to add in the time dot delta time to add that smoothing in so that we don't get this real jerky movement. Right after that, we're going to do our math F clamp so that it feeds back to the current middle radius as our inner range or outer range limit, which we set that up here. That way we don't go zooming into the ship or past it, and we don't go so far back that it's just way out. But we're going to make those serializable fields so that it can be set in the editor. And then this last list of statements is the most important. We're taking our reference to our Freelook camera to zoom, which we set up here, the Cinemachine camera that we have watching our ship. And we're going to call the orbits on it, the orbit function, command, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to change the radius to the new current middle radius, which is set here, the one we're lerping to and clamping. So that sets our radius as we zoom in and out. And remember in the beginning when I said you want your height of the other two rigs to equal the radius? Well, this is where we do that. We set the height to the radius. So that way we keep our zoom in this nice big sphere around our object. What these mean are M orbits is the top, middle, and lower rig. I'll show you on the scene. Let's go to the ship. What we're actually changing, go to the Freelook camera. This is what you're looking at right here. Here's a camera, and each of these big circles is called a rig. So our radius is 10 around the object. Our upper rig is 10 above it. Our lower rig is 10 below it. But as we zoom in, I don't think it's going to let me do it here. But as we zoom in, these rigs are going to shrink, and these top and bottom are going to lower. And as we zoom out, of course, this middle rig will grow, and the top and bottom will move further away. I hope I explained that good, best I can. But now let's try it out. All right, let's go to scripts. Let's put the zoom control. Oops, we need to put that on the actual ship. You put the zoom control script on what you want to zoom in on. The input provider is the input system. The Freelook camera to zoom is, of course, the camera. And we already set up some ranges there. Let's see what happens. All right, zooming out, zooming in. Oh, it's way slow. So let's change that. Let's change the zoom speed to 25. Oh yeah, a lot better. Stops us there. Can't get no closer than that. Can't get any further away from that. And even when we're moving around, we can zoom out, zoom in. Ooh, I'm going way too close. But that's it. That's your zoom. The assets used in this video were from my new multiplayer Starship game in development, Hidden in the Stars. If you like this video, remember to like, follow, and/or subscribe at Quirky Software Design on YouTube and Facebook for more tutorials, or on YouTube at the Hidden in the Stars channel for more game development info. Thanks for watching.